Hello everyone, my name is Mo. Today we're going to be taking a look at the performance of the previous installments of the Borderlands franchise. First of all, to kick things off, I'm going to be testing Borderlands 1 and 2 on the NVIDIA GeForce 8600 GT, which is quite an old GPU by this day and age. This is the slowest GPU I have. So, crazy idea. I saw the performance problems with Borderlands 4 that people are having, and I decided, hey, this is the oldest card I have. Let's see if we can run Borderlands 1 and 2, because it obviously cannot run Borderlands 3 because it doesn't even support DirectX 11. So first, let's have a look at the specifications on this thing, because most of you may not be familiar with this GPU. This is an NVIDIA GeForce 8600 GT. This is the XFX version of the card. It's built on the 80 nanometer manufacturing process. Modern GPUs, the RTX 5000 series, are built on the 4 nanometer process, which is much more advanced. Decades in progress. The die size is around 160 millimeters squared. It's released on April of 2007, which is like 18 years ago, this GPU. It has a measly 289 million transistors, which is even the slowest GPUs. These are have an RTX 4060 or something like that, probably has around 20 billion. It's running on the PCI Express 1.1 interface. We have 512 megabytes, and here's the kicker. This is the slower variant of the 8600G GT GPU. It only has DDR2 memory, which is half the speed of the DDR3 that this card usually ships with. And if you look at the bandwidth, it only has 14.4 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, which is half what you would get running on the integrated graphics GPU of this Intel Core i7-4790 CPU. So this is even slower than the iGPU on this CPU. But we are running the GPU at an overclock. This is the highest overclock that we could manage, 650 megahertz, 1450 on the shader clocks, which was a whole different thing back in the day. The shaders would run at around twice the speed of the core. And the memory clock DDR2 is running at 400. So the default for comparison is 540, 1188, 400. And the overclock settings are 650, 1450, and 450 on the memory. Let's get into the game. All right, guys, here we are in Borderlands 1. Let's have a look at the settings, first of all. Under video settings, you'll see that we're running at the 1280 by 720 resolution, and a strip filtering is set to 2x. Maybe we can turn it up. Yeah. We can turn it off without dropping the performance by quite a bit. We have shadows turned off because shadows are quite demanding specifically for this GPU, because this is kind of I know, like hopeless in terms of performance. And turning it on cuts the frame rate in half. Bullet decals are on, foliage quality set to high. Yeah, even setting it to low doesn't, as you can see on the background there, doesn't remove all the vegetation like it does in Borderlands 4. Texture quality is set to high, game detail set to high, and with occlusion I have turned it up because turning it on does incur a bit of a performance penalty. As you can see, it takes up about 10 FPS from the performance we were getting, but it does look a bit better. So I'm still going to leave it off. Bloom is off, and if you turn it on, it doesn't make any difference in performance. Depth of field, yeah. Depth of field, I usually turn it off, and it takes a performance penalty here. Flare-outs, I don't know what that means, I don't know what it does, but I have turned it off. Let's get into the game. I'm using a controller for this one because it's kind of hard to... play and record with the keyboard at the same time. And one thing I should also mention, because this card is so old, that the HDMI output that I'm getting from a converter on the back of this card does not have audio output. So yeah, this is the way this game runs at this kind of resolution and settings, Borderlands 1. And as you can see, we can play it just fine at 720p. On this old GPU, the only thing we've turned off is the shadows. I mean, shadows are quite significant, don't get me wrong, but still. And look at the frame time graph. None of that, shader compilation stuttering or any of that stuff, frame time spikes, none of that, absolutely flat. I don't know where we're going, but we're gonna fight a few beasts around here before we move on to Borderlands 4. As you can see, aiming down the sights does take up... Oh, there's some dudes here. Pretty easy with the controller because of the aim assist. And pretty fun. It's been like a decade or so, more than that, since I've last played this game, and even in the middle of a fight, we don't get large, huge, unplayable dips to performance, which is quite nice. For a card released 18 years ago, being able to run Borderlands 2, even at Borderlands 1, even at 720p, I think that's acceptable for this card. All of its 289 million transistors. So let's see if we can raise the resolution while still kind of sort of staying playable. 1600 by 900. Let's see what kind of frame rates. Yeah. The DDR2, that 14.4 gigabytes of memory bandwidth is just not enough. The only reason I'm not dead yet is because of the aim assist. I mean, I'm not trying to compare Borderlands 4 and Borderlands 1. Obviously, these are not completely different games at this point. It doesn't look anywhere close to Borderlands 4 in terms of detail, but it is the kind of the same concept, kind of the same game, and it's running on this card, even at 1600 by 900. Where did he go? Where did he go? Oh, what? There we go. So, I think that'll do for Borderlands 1. I think we've proved the point that this card can indeed run Borderlands 1. Even though it's the slowest card I've ever used. Probably. Alright guys, here we are with Borderlands 2 this time. Let's have a look at the settings. Look at the resolution first. We're running at 720p. And frame rate is unlimited. Anisotropic filtering, we're going to turn these on and off to see if we drop in performance. And we are getting right now 28 FPS, which is way less than Borderlands 1. This is way more demanding than Borderlands 1. Turning it out to 16x doesn't drop the performance at all. So bullet decals, turning it on even to high doesn't drop the performance. Foliage distance, far, near, doesn't make a difference because we're in an icy area, probably. Texture quality, set it to high. Let's see what happens. We're loading it up into VRAM and we are using 340 megabytes right now. Game detail, set it to high. Doesn't really make a difference. Ambient occlusion, turning it on, it does take a huge chunk of performance. Depth of field, I'm going to leave it off because it's kind of optional, you don't need it. FXAA, I'm going to turn, imagine how slow this card is that it doesn't even handle FXAA. Turning it on takes 2 or 3 FPS of the performance. View distance, set it into ultra high, doesn't make a difference. Physics effects are set to off, even though this card does support it, unlike the RTX 5000 series. Texture fade is turned on, and that's it. Let's get back into the game. And here we are. We are getting much less performance than we were getting with Borderlands 1, but we have aim assist, so no problem, right? And this kind of flaming gun we have, it takes care of Bulemangs no problem at all. We're cooking right now, right? Yeah, that was a huge, oh my god. Just having to render that burning Bulemang is enough to bring this card to its knees. And let's see if we can take in a couple more. Yeah. Thank God for aim assist. But still, if you remember, if you keep in mind how many thousands of percentage points this card is slower than a modern mid-range GPU, like an RTX 3060 or 4060 is probably around, I don't know, 50 times? I don't know. If you look at the tech power-up database, it'll show you just how much difference there is in the performance between these cards. But this card is one or perhaps several orders of magnitude slower than modern GPUs. And running at 720p isn't that kind of like running, DLSS at quality? So we're basically kind of running DLSS because we're running at a lower resolution. All right. This is kind of an area with a lot of NPCs, with a lot of enemies we have to take care of. And the performance is kind of consistent. Unless you start shooting. I think if this card had a bit more resources, it would be much better at this game. It would be playable finally. I was going to test multiple GPUs in this video, but it is getting quite long, and we're around the 10-minute or more mark. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up for this one, and I'll try some other GPUs from the same era, not 2007 probably, because that's kind of getting too old. A 2007 GPU trying to run a 2012 game, I mean, a 2007 GPU that wasn't even much good to begin with? Yeah, that's a long shot. So, for those of you who are watching, oh, I'm gonna finally die, Jesus Christ, no. Oh, you're back, baby. So for those of you who have been watching this video, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in a new video soon. Take care, guys. Bye.